Hello, my name is Kim Dechert, and I'm here to explain how women are not little men. It's complicated.
Hey there. Welcome to the Redirect Podcast. This is where we dive into real conversations, share stories, and just hang out talking about finding our purpose in retirement. We're glad you're along for the ride, and let's get into it. Curt and Dale, not long ago we had Joshua Reed who came on to talk about the values and importance of functional fitness, especially as we age. Today we have Kim in studio to talk about all of those things, specifically as it relates to women and how that's different from men. And I'm very excited about hearing from her and how she's going to help women and how she's going to help men help women. But to get things going, quick question for you guys. Tell me what you know about women's hormones.
Absolutely nothing. All I know is that there's this thing called menopause that just changes them to a person that I didn't know. I know that there's a chemical thing that goes on within the female body after the reproductive years, and it's like, okay, you're having a hot flash. I don't have anything like that goes on in my body when I reached a certain age. And I nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, that was a lot of something for nothing.
He had a lot of words behind the nothing.
But you learn that in health
really
class when you're in high school. You know,
Right.
I mean, you learn that back in the day.
Living and being.
And you are married to a woman.
I am, but again,
That helps.
you know, she doesn't come up to me and tell me all the things that are going on with her chemically and physically every day. And it's just all of a sudden like, oh, that's a strange behavior. And now I get it.
I know the term hormone therapy. That's
Horse
it.
hormone
That's it.
therapy.
I know hormone therapy. That is something. You know, my wife had a situation where she had a hysterectomy, so she didn't go through a lot of the stuff that women who don't have one go through. So I didn't have to live through or get into it. But these days I just hear a lot about hormone therapy, but I'm the first one to tell you I probably know very little about it. So that's why we have you, Kim.
Well, wait a minute. What about Adam? You asked the question, what do you know about hormones?
So today's guest of the Redirect. No, I do believe there to be an incredible difference. I think there has been over the last bunch of years some focus on what it's like for men to transition through a declining testosterone, and I'm really pleased with some of the latest momentum that there is, focusing specifically with a lot of rich detail on the female experience. We're now not ignoring men, and we're giving more of a spotlight on the complexity of the female experience. So I'm glad that the trends are going the way they're going. There's a lot of positive things in the media, and we'll hopefully get into some of that stuff today with Kim.
Well, why don't I introduce Kim to our listening audience? Today's guest of the Redirect Podcast is Kim Dechert. Little did Kim know when she was in her 30s and had accepted an opportunity to lead a step class at a fitness club she was attending, that it would lead to a 35-year career as a fitness specialist. During Kim's tenure as the fitness instructor, Kim began to see changes in her own fitness and noticing a transformation of her body. In recognizing this transition firsthand, Kim began to focus her attention on older women by being a support and mentor to busy professionals who are struggling with weight gain, brain fog, and increased inflammation concerns. Kim's business, Kim Dechert Wellness, offers online consulting for postmenopausal women focusing on gut health and eating as we were designed to eat, plus moving as we were designed to move. Kim encourages her female clients to gain more energy, increase brain power, and avoid aging into frailty. Kim, welcome to the Redirect Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here with you, gentlemen. And Adam, you really hit it nail on the head when you said it's becoming more known and talked about menopause. Menopause is having its moment now, and that's largely been driven by Gen X the Gen X women in that generation, because they're like, we have not had the opportunities that we talked about this earlier about the NIH study that came out in 2001 that basically said, hormone therapy caused breast cancer and caused other issues and heart attacks and blood clotting. And that was all been debunked since. And so women are wanting their therapy back, their hormone therapy back. And now we are largely focusing on bioidentical hormone therapy, which is different than the Premarin, the horse urine that they were using in the original estrogen therapy. So it's come a long way. And women are having their moment. Menopause is having its moment, and women are being heard about we're not little men. We are our own complicated structure. And so it's really interesting. So I wanted to start, though, with gut health. If we could talk about gut health first, because I think that is super important for everybody. But gut health is the main driver of our overall health. Our gut health affects our hormones. Our gut tells our hormones what to do. What affects our gut health? Well, it's what we eat. It's what we feed ourselves. We are a fast food society. We are a convenience food society. People don't cook their meals at home anymore. You've got two parents working, so they don't have a lot of time for cooking. So that's why we get all these packaged, processed, ultra-processed foods, convenience foods. Dinner delivery, you can get anything delivered to your house from any
DoorDash.
DoorDash, thank you.
Uber Eats.
I've never used it.
Kroger.
Thank you. Okay.
Kroger trucks.
Right.
Wow, we found those quick,
know,
guys.
back-
That's
you did.
embarrassing.
How
Back
did
in
you
the
know
day, it was the ice cream truck that would come down the street, right?
Right. So women, it's really interesting. So when boys and girls, before they hit puberty, we have a similar microbiome. By the time we hit puberty, men get more testosterone, women get more estrogen. Our microbiomes start to change. Microbiome is the same term for gut health.
Mm-hmm.
And so they start to change. Men pretty much stay pretty even throughout their lives. They do go through andropause later. But women have the next shift or switch at pregnancy if they get pregnant. So then their whole microbiome has another shift and a change.
Does that explain cravings?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Get
Yep.
down,
Yep.
Curt.
There you go.
Yeah, good one, Curt.
Put it together.
And then the next shift is perimenopause. And again, our microbiome shifts again. So as we get older, as we hit perimenopause, we tend to become our estrogen lowers. And this is interesting thing when you talk about changes you see in your wives. If, the estrogen changes, that's our people pleaser hormone.
Okay.
And then we stop people pleasing because we're like, I'm tired of this.
So now you
That's
just opened
okay.
up a whole new window for me. That's great.
Well, and it's like, okay, I'm done with that.
I think every male listener just went, wow.
That explains it.
But can you package people pleasing in a bottle?
Well,
With a needle.
yeah. So then hormone therapy comes in and evens you out in different ways. So that's one little aspect. But women, our hormones are fluctuating, and a lot of us, why do I feel like this? What's going on with me? Why don't I feel the same? Why don't I feel good? So with the hormone shifting, and if you don't have access to bioidentical hormone therapy, which I'll talk about later, you've got to learn to manage. And one thing we can do is to focus on what we are eating. What we feed ourselves is so important. And this is what I learned in my 50s. I was going through the perimenopause, menopause, where I had severe brain fog. I had low energy. I'm a fitness instructor. I kept forgetting my Zumba choreography. I was so embarrassed about that. And then I went to a yoga class, forgot my yoga mat, and I'm the yoga instructor. So I'm like, that scared me.
Whoops.
Yeah, whoops. Severe brain fog. I was having migraines, 3 to 5 migraines a month, starting at 51. That's about when my perimenopause started. And I kept having migraines all throughout my 50s. And my doctor, I went to a neurologist, and he said, Kim, there's no cure for migraines. You just got to learn to live with them and manage them. And I went on, tried all these different drugs and stuff, and nothing worked to prevent them. So when I turned 60, I had an epiphany that there's a better way through this, better way to age. I saw people coming to my classes that were in different phases of frailty and disease. And so I thought, I have the fitness piece, but I don't have the nutrition piece. So that's when I took a deep dive into nutrition and that's when the term gut health started coming out at the time.
Yeah.
And leaky gut, I don't know if you guys have heard of leaky gut. I'll talk about that too. But leaky gut started coming out, and then the focus started becoming on the microbiome and what it was and how we should eat for our microbiome. So I did this group where we basically ate anti-inflammatory foods for 90 days. No alcohol, no sugar or grains or refined flours.
But dairy.
No dairy, because conventional dairy
Yeah.
can be inflammatory.
Not too long ago, I went and did my annual physical and got all my blood work done. And my doctor came back to me, and first of all, I go in there and I was weighing 221 pounds. All right. That's the heaviest I've ever been. And I was sort of uncomfortable with how I was feeling. And so when he says to me, he says, well, this level's up. We're going to put you on Stanton. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And so then I went to another doctor. Doctor said exactly what you just said. Curt asked me what I ate. He says, this is it going forward. No sugar, no wheat. So now you're getting into the gluten-free stuff and no dairy. I've been doing this now for, I'm going to say 40 days. And I didn't realize the impact it was going to have on me. I've lost 20 pounds.
Wow.
All right.
That's pretty quick.
It's very quick. And I'm one of these guys, all or nothing. My alcohol consumption has been reduced significantly. I'm actually finding, I went to a place and found gluten-free beer, of which they offer an India Pale Ale, a lager. And I have to admit, Kim, I am sleeping better. I am feeling better. I got to find my proteins. That's important because middle of the day, I get a little, and we are so accustomed because television, because of fast food, even restaurants. It's tough to go out to a restaurant nowadays.
It is.
And now my family is starting to follow this diet and we're all feeling better. So I didn't want to jump on your statement, but I wanted to say that what you did, I'm doing, and I am feeling incredible about it. And I think continue on.
Yeah,
keep going.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And that's the power of food, of eating the right food. So I love that you shared that. So what happened with that 90 days, we were focusing on healthy fats because we've been told since the 80s and 90s that fats are bad.
Yeah.
And we need to eat low fat and no non-fat. And of course, I bought into that back in the day too. Well, not eating healthy fats really affects your brain and your hormones. So we focused on that. I was able, and fat is a great fuel source. Most people in America are sugar burners or carb burners. That's where they get their fuel source.
It's a primary intake.
It's a primary intake. So when we switched over to higher healthy fats, I became a fat burner, switched over to that fuel, which is a very clean fuel. It gives you a long day of just energy, sustained energy. And I go back and I have 4 kids who are all in their 40s now, and I go back and they were all athletes. And I think, gosh, if I would have got them more healthy fats, they would have been able to use fat as a fuel. Now we know better, but I was amazed how good I felt. And I actually switched fat burning about the 11th day when we started. I know I made that switch in my body that I became a fat burner. So my brain fog disappeared. My migraines went away. And I was like, hallelujah.
What a blessing.
Oh, such a blessing. And I was like ready to cry. So that told me food is so powerful. Food is our medicine, but it's getting the right food and the right medicine. We have been sold a bill of goods with the food pyramid that came out earlier. Now they've basically turned it upside down.
Yeah.
Hallelujah, which is good. And I look at food like, is this going to harm me or is this going to help me? I look at everything like that now.
Ah, I like that.
So
a bag of Cheetos.
Enough
said.
Where did you hear about it? How did you get to really learn about what was what were you reading or what were you being told?
Well, I was on social media quite a bit, and I follow a lot of functional doctors. I follow a lot of functional practitioners and integrative doctors and practitioners. And I just all of a sudden, it's like it was on my radar and talking about gut health. This was about 8 years ago. And so that and leaky gut came out of that as well. The medical term is intestinal permeability, but it's easy to say leaky gut. Your gut is a tight juncture of like a window screen. Think of it that way. Your food's going through, nutrients get out that are supposed to get out. But as you get leaky gut, like from gluten or ultra-processed foods or foods that hurt you, it's like it makes these holes in your gut. So in the gut
micro
lining.
perforations.
Thank you. Yeah,
Mhm.
but then they become big enough that food actually leaks out.
Mhm.
So that's what causes issues with autoimmune and the chronic disease that we see. That's
The
so
problems
prevalent.
that causes that is, all of that material or that matter that isn't where it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
One, you're not getting the right nutrition, and two, the downstream problems you're causing are long lasting.
Exactly. Very good, Adam. You did your homework. I like it.
I've got to say that this week I was listening to Mel Robbins on her podcast, and she had an epigenetics professor from Stanford University talk just about how what you eat, you can dictate exactly how your health and future going forward. And it was about genetics. It was all about, hey, wait a second, I got a mom who's 94. Boy, I'm lucky because I'm probably going to live till I'm 94. Well, only 25% of where you're going with your health is your genes. The other 75%, what you eat and how you eat it can dictate exactly how your genes are going to respond, and you're going to grow and feel healthier and better.
It's lifestyle.
And I would imagine, like, as we know, as we age, there's things that our physical body goes through, right? We feel it. We're not as strong. Our balance may be a little compromised, and so on and so forth. I would imagine that our interior is also, well, it is aging, but do we pay attention to that? Because I still think that there are people that are in their 70s that are still eating like they were in their 40s, the same types of foods. You know what I'm getting at? So it's never been told to me that as you age, you have to sort of think about what you're eating more because it's going to be changing. And that is sort of interesting because I've noticed before I got into this thing, there were foods that I would eat that all of a sudden afterwards, I'm just not feeling good. And then I realized, well, I can't eat that anymore. And now I'm finding substitutes where now I'm feeling good. But
we talk about you are what you eat. And, you can look great on the outside, but what's going on in the inside, you know, and paying attention to that. I know that I'm constantly trying to make the right moves. I dealt with inflammation, in my whole life. And that's why I'm really interested to hear more about inflammation and opinions on that.
So the idea of how we handle ultra-processed foods and all of the sugar and the non-fats and the excessive dairy. I mean, people's addiction to cheese is ridiculous. All of that stuff. It's not like that was ever really good for us. It's just our tolerance for that dissipates as we get older, and it's more critical. It's always important, but it's more critical as we age. And are you suggesting, Kim, that is even more so true for women?
Yes, because as our hormones change, then we don't process dairy as easily as we get older too. We definitely don't process alcohol like we did when we were younger. And I want to just say something quickly about alcohol. So if you're trying to lose weight and you're drinking alcohol, your liver recognizes it as a toxin, as a poison. So it wants to get rid of it as soon as possible. So all fat burning stops while your liver works 24 to 48 hours to get rid of that alcohol. So it really defeats the purpose. If you are drinking alcohol and trying to lose weight, it doesn't work well together. And to your point, Dale, when you were talking about epigenetics, it's really interesting about that. I listened to that podcast as well. And our genes are 25%, but our genes load the gun, but our lifestyle pulls the trigger. And so we can keep some genes from expressing themselves. Like if you have heart disease, whatever, something going on negative, that gene.
Family history.
You don't have to let it come out if you eat properly and eat an anti-inflammatory diet. In women, we also tend to become less insulin resistant as we get older because the estrogen goes down. So we got to really be careful about our A1C and eating high glycemic foods. We really want to follow a low glycemic, which means anti-inflammatory as well. A low glycemic lifestyle means your blood sugar will not get spiked.
I think that not only do you have to worry about the kinds of foods you eat, but sometimes the timing of those things. Like if you step slightly out of bounds, it's a little more impactful if you eat them out of sequence with other foods and such, right?
Yeah, exactly. So typically what I do first, I always try to eat my protein first, and then I eat my veggies /fiber, and then I save any carbs for last if I have carbs. So or you can reverse that. You can do your fiber veggies first, then your protein, and then save carbs for last. So that helps to reduce blood sugar spikes.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we shop?
Yeah.
I mean, I go into Kroger or any grocery store, and I see things that are marketed to kids. I see things that are marketed to the sugar craze, to all these little gimmicky things. And it's such a distraction. How do you know which is the right foods to be getting for you at that time? What do you do?
I go straight to the produce section. And we also go to the meat counter, and then we stay out of the middle of the store because there's really
Nothing there.
If it can live for 25 years on a shelf, maybe it shouldn't be in your body.
And if it has a label, avocado doesn't have a label on it. You know what it is. You know what the ingredients are. But if it has a label with tons of ingredients on it, it's not food. It's fake food, or we call it frankenfood. And it does nothing for your health, nothing for your body. And so it may taste good for a moment. You get satiated, and then you're like, why did I eat that? Because I don't feel so good now. I've done that before.
So what about the sections of the store that are organic, the gluten-free areas? Right. Are there things we have to pay attention, even it says gluten-free on it, that maybe it might not be the best thing for you?
That can be a marketing. I think I saw where Oreos said they were gluten-free or something. I'm like, it's the marketing.
Because you can.
Right. So basically, and we try to shop at farmers markets too. We go to Findlay Market here a lot in Cincinnati, but we definitely buy whole foods. Our whole focus is on whole foods.
What about fruits? We had a conversation about fruit.
So that's a great question. So fruit is fructose in fruit, which is sugar. We were designed to have fruit when it was available, like in the summertime. It fattens you up, and then you don't have fruit during the wintertime. And so people we're made to go for a while. We're made to fast. We're made to eat and then fast for a while. And then that's how we were designed to stay alive. So fruit was actually made, God made it taste really good. And people would stock up on that in the summertime. And then when you could grow it, and then that would tide them over for the winter. Now we have it available 24 hours.
Yeah. Hot houses.
Yeah. So we have our 365 days a year. So fruit in itself is not bad. If you eat the whole fruit and you're getting fiber, you're getting some phytonutrients. If you're drinking the juice, that's a whole nother story because you're mainlining sugar, basically. You're not getting the fiber and stuff. So I definitely stay away from juice. I limit my fruit. I love berries. We really try to eat low glycemic fruit that's not going to spike your blood sugar. That's not high.
Some of the darker berries like
blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, and also kiwi. Kiwi's really high in vitamin C. But we try to eat it seasonally. Sumo oranges were just out. I don't know if you guys have seen those Sumo oranges. They're ugly oranges with a little knob on them.
Oh, yeah.
They're from January to April, and they are the orangiest orange flavor in the world. And so Jim and I were buying those every week because we're like, oh my gosh, these are so good. But now they're gone. So now we'll go on to the next thing, like watermelon in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
How do people find out that there's this fruit rotation that you're sort of talking about? Because it's always available at the grocery store. So how do you know when it's the season?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I know when they're available, that's one tell as well when they are in season. But usually, you think of apples, squash in the fall, watermelon in the summer, and
berries in the spring, summer.
Yeah,
tough to find strawberries in December.
Yeah, so. And that's not to say you can't eat them all year round, but I would just not go crazy.
That was the biggest give up that I hate because I used to make smoothies. I'd do all fresh fruit and all this kind of stuff, and then put in a yogurt. I haven't had a smoothie. The only fruit that I'm eating right now is occasionally some blueberries on granola.
Okay.
And I miss a banana, but the banana's got one of the highest levels of sugar in it that you can possibly imagine.
It turns quick.
Green bananas. They're called resistant starch. They're not as sweet, but they're actually great for your gut.
Okay.
So green bananas are really, you can do those.
Okay.
So let's shift, if we can, to the hormone and hormone therapy conversation. I think it was November of 25. The Department of Health and Human Services came out and, decoded some of that negative language that the FDA had placed on.
They took the black box off.
They took the
Warning.
black box label off of it.
Yep.
It
So
was a big day.
yeah, it was a big day. So women, we got the hormone therapy taken away, in the early 2000s, and it's been a process to get it back. It was actually, that was huge news when that came out. But when it came out that the data was wrong, that got very little press, and doctors were still not recommending it. I did a lot of my own research on it because I was kind of like on the cusp of being too old to get it, but I was within that 10-year range. They say that when you start menopause, where you can still get on hormone therapy. So I did my own research, studied it quite a bit, and then was able to find a practitioner here in Cincinnati who would let me, put me on the estrogen and progesterone. And so, which I love because I was sleeping better. I felt better. It's just that feeling overall that you can't bottle. I am still on it and I can still take it. And I'm a huge proponent of it. Not everyone can take it, but it's a conversation between you and your doctor or you and your practitioner if it's for you. For me, it works. I like it and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm 69 now, so I don't foresee stopping it and I don't have to. So
I think this will be a good time to take a quick break. If you're enjoying our show, we'd be incredibly grateful if you could take a moment to comment. And if you like what you're hearing, leave us a 5-star review. Your feedback not only makes our day, but helps other listeners discover our content. Your support through listening, sharing, following, and reviewing means the world to us and helps our podcast grow. Thanks so much for being part of the Redirect family. So let's now get back to our conversation. And you've been on it for how long? When did you start taking it?
Probably when I was 62, I want to say.
And you can see prolonging the therapy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for those who just don't know, or just, there's a stigma associated with it for various reasons. What's the value of it? What's the importance of it? Assuming that you can participate in that, why consider it?
Well, if you're struggling, and I had some clients struggling with their sleep. Sleep's a big one for women. And they were able to get on like the estrogen patch. And I've had women reach back out to me and say, Kim, thank you so much for that recommendation. I feel so much better now. So that's anecdotal, but you need to talk about your symptoms. We're all bio-individual. So maybe what works for me is not going to work for someone else, but you've got to have the conversation and see what's going on with you via labs, with your lifestyle, and to see what will work for you. But I think it's worth investigating. One thing that I would recommend or think about is if you are past the point to do any kind of hormone therapy, vaginal estrogen can be done by women of all ages, and it's a big preventer of UTIs, and UTIs get worse as you get older. And that is a huge one for women. All women can do that up into their 90s. Oh, I want to talk about this book that I read also that is so informative. It's called Estrogen Matters, and they debunk the whole study that was done in 2001, and they talk about why estrogen is so important for women. It reduces all-cause mortality. It helps with your bone health. It helps with so many things. So our bodies make it. We just don't make as much anymore. Estrogen makes a woman, really.
So respond to this argument. Yeah, but aren't you tinkering with the normal way of life and the normal aging process? Why not just accept it gracefully and ride off into the sunset?
Look at how we're living today. We live in a toxic world. We've got a lot attacking us in our food system, in our skincare, our personal care. We've got all these hormone disruptors that they didn't have before, that weren't around. And so now all these things are disrupting our hormones. So we need to counteract that. We're living longer now than we did before. You want to enjoy a quality, long life. The doctors I really trust out there that are functional doctors highly recommend this as well. So I don't think there's a downside.
Yeah, you don't have to accept it. You don't have to accept life that way.
Right.
You mentioned it here. Estrogen makes a woman a woman. The woman's body, as it was created, is to reproduce. And estrogen is a huge part of that. And then once that opportunity no longer exists within the body.
Yeah, the baby factory shut down.
Exactly.
So
I
to
was going to
speak.
say that, but I tried to be a little bit more educational. But
I got you.
thank you, buddy. But the point is that all of a sudden you change, and we call it menopause. But we as guys don't go through this unbelievable change that your body, the female body, is changing completely from what it's designed to be. Estrogen makes you a woman, right? And it is such an awakening to me that now, how do you deal with that? How, you as a woman, you have opportunities. You can do the estrogen hormone supplements and such, and different eatings and things of this nature. But how can us guys be better supporters for you, the women, the females in our lives?
That's a great question. And I mean, love your wife, obviously, be there for her, listen to her, try not to fix her.
How do I do that?
She's still fixing me.
Yeah,
And I'm a
right?
work in progress, Dale.
God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth to use in that proportion.
That's the key.
There
That's
you
the
go.
key. Thank you,
I
Jen.
like
That's it.
That was
Yeah.
yours.
And I just think that being there for her, let her vent. I heard the statistic recently that was really interesting, that in perimenopause and menopause, 70% of women instigate the divorces because what they're going through or not being heard, whatever. I don't know. Isn't that amazing? But that's
probably a little more complex, right? That it's the layers of the onion probably look a lot like this. I'm not eating well. I'm in a toxic environment. I'm not seeking or don't have the resources or knowledge to seek out the right kinds of treatment, whether that be TRT or anything else. HRT. And I don't always have the language by which to express what I'm going through. And I might be living with someone who doesn't understand it or have the language to express what they're going through. And so that's a complicated environment.
it is.
That's tough to navigate if you can't find the grace and you can't find the language. That is an untenable situation.
Yep. No, I agree. And so, yeah, it's very complicated. But I just thought that when I heard that statistic, I thought, wow, that kind of telling, about what women are going through if they're unhappy.
I don't have those conversations with my wife to say, explain to me how you're feeling. I hear it. I see it in actions. I see the anxiousness, the uncomfortableness, but no one ever explained it to me, and I'm sorry, maybe I'm the stupid one in the room here, because I never really put it together. Click, click, A, B, that as a woman ages, her chemical system changes dramatically, that she really isn't what she was before, and she's trying to figure it out, but she doesn't really know what she's figuring out. And I just think it's a mood swing.
And the psychological impacts of that are significant.
Yeah.
And I love that you're aware of this but you know what? Think of this. Your dads didn't talk about menopause, or your moms didn't talk about menopause. You didn't know she was going through it, probably. And so now it's having its moment, and men are waking up too about it.
Sure.
And trying to understand it, which I love. I think that's awesome. So I feel like you're doing the right things right now by being interested in it.
But you're right. The conversation is out there like it's never been before. I've gone to a couple when I was working with our company designing exhibits for big pharmaceutical shows and healthcare shows. Everybody was talking about menopause, but it was men, women, everybody. And all of a sudden you can talk about this.
Right.
It's acceptable. There's more good information out there, and that's kind of where we are now. So I think we can talk about it.
So we've talked about how eating can help us. We've talked about how there's hormones and such that can help females. Now, Joshua and his thing talked a lot about functional fitness and sort of strength training. When I hear of women in strength training, I'm like, well, they have to do things because osteoporosis is a big thing. But I'm sure that's also tied into the food, and it's tied into hormone changes and such. But what are some of the things strength training wise that women have that's sort of different than, or the challenges that women have versus men?
Or the importance of it?
Yes, great questions. So women, typically, we're weak. We're called the weaker sex. We are weaker than men. We don't have as much testosterone. You have 10 times more testosterone than we do. So I look at strength training as the secret sauce to aging well and not getting frail. And so strength training for women is imperative. We have to strength train. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's what I help with my clients with strength training programs and meet them where they are, because not everybody's going to go to a gym and start doing pull-ups. So women, we need to start where we are, start with lighter weights, speaking of dumbbells, and then work our way up. Progressive overload is important. We want to build our muscles. We're not going to get bulky unless we're, taking 10 times testosterone that you guys have. But we will not get bulky. We will get toned. We will get strong and feel. The biggest thing I see and I feel for myself is I just feel so empowered when I'm strong. When I told you we went to Brazil a couple of years ago, we had 35-pound rollerboards, our rolling suitcases. I was able to lift that sucker up and put it in the overhead bin. I was so proud of myself.
And you're still telling that story.
I'm still telling that story because I'm still doing it. But I'm not going to get weak. I'm not going to let myself get weak and not be able to do things. I refuse to end up that way. So strength training, I can't say enough things about. It's like metabolic Spanx for women. It tightens you up. So,
wow. That's good. I like that.
That's a good visual.
I'm going to a lot of Pilates classes these days.
Okay.
And I'm usually the only guy there.
Mm.
What is it about Pilates that is so good for women?
Yeah. Pilates is a great workout. It does build strength. It is very core driven. It's a core driven workout. Mm-hmm. I would still add a resistance training program in there as well. I think Pilates is great. Yoga is great. I mean, and doing some mindful meditation. I think of yoga as a moving meditation, but Pilates is a good workout. And you're right. It's very popular with women, but I do find that you have to have some strength training, things that are going to really challenge your muscles. And so you can only do that twice a week.
And you need to do that to give your bones support.
So you can reverse osteoporosis through strength training. So what it does, when you build your muscles pull on your bones, which makes your bones remodel. Mm-hmm. So you can strengthen your bones. So it's very important. That's another thing to stave off osteopenia, osteoporosis, or to reverse it. And not be afraid that you are going to hurt yourself.
So let's talk about, really quick, some resources. If I want to start figuring out how to properly regulate my microbiome, I need to know some of the good fats. I need an expose on the right fruits and maybe the blends of these foods. What's some good resource material for gut health?
Well, work with somebody who can help you, work with a nutritionist or a coach that can help you with those resources. You can Google yourself, like what's an anti-inflammatory diet, what will serve my body. There are a lot of resources out there. If you just don't know where to start, I work with somebody, like
maybe you.
Well, maybe that's an option, or find somebody you trust, that you want to work with. There are a lot of people out there that are passionate as I am about getting healthy and helping others get healthy. So I feel like there are a lot of resources out there.
Let's talk about you then. So how can someone get in contact with you? What resource do you have that people can engage with and potentially connect personally with you, which if you accept that? So tell us more about that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very active on Instagram as Kim Dechert Wellness. I offer, I have a free, called Old Lady Arms Workout, but it's a free 2-week program you can download for free. It's a 2-week program, full body workout. I also have a Happy Hormone Food List you can download too. And I teach a lot on Instagram on, how we can age better. So I'm very active there. You can schedule a free consultation that we can see what's going on with you. I can give you some tips and some ideas what you can do. If you want to work with me further, that's fine. If not, that's fine too.
So you can do personal training things potentially, or don't you do that? Not
personal training, but personal coaching. I do have a 12-week program that I teach women to become fat adapted and to move the way their bodies were supposed to move, and just to change the whole mindset and not think about food all the time, just to get away from that. Because women, we think about your next meal, or think, what am I going to eat? Or it's like you're kind of all encompassed on what you should or should not eat. But I try to get away from that.
Yeah, and as we find out when we get older that, a lot of our community and socialization times are done over breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Sometimes all three in one day.
And sometimes from one to the other.
Mhm.
You know,
I follow you on Instagram. Your Instagram page is delightful.
Aw.
Your personality leaps off the screen. It's energetic. You have a great following. That number is impressive.
Thank you.
So yeah, check her out on. Tell us that Instagram handle one more time.
Kim Dechert Wellness. It's Dechert Wellness. Thank
That's
you so
great.
much.
I just want to thank you for speaking from your gut.
That was
There it
easy.
is.
I really have.
There
It has, but it
Sat on
has
that the whole
inspired
day.
me to, continue to look at what I eat. I live with a woman who's very healthy and very strong, and she, puts me to shame on a lot of different levels, and definitely, I follow her because she does a lot of the cooking. So I eat pretty well, but there is the thing about the gut, and to feel as good as you can, you've got to be eating right. But I think starting with you is the best way to go.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I feel like at 69, I'm still young. I still got a third of my life left.
Yes, you do.
So,
The next 30.
I'm like, I want to live it the best I can and feel the best I can. So that's what it's about.
Kim, thank you for educating me. Thank you for helping me to understand my wife better and the women out there in the world and understand some of the things, the challenges that they're going through concerning their own personal health. But appreciate you being here today. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm honored. Thank you so much for having me.
And thanks for joining us on the Redirect Podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Redirect Podcast. We would like to thank the University of Cincinnati 1819 Innovation Hub for allowing us to record our episodes at the eSports Innovation Lab recording studio. Don't forget to tell your friends about the Redirect Podcast and have them follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Instagram. Want more information? Do you have a question for Curt, Dale, or Adam? Or would you like us to consider a topic that interests you for a future podcast? Send us an email at info@redirect-u.com. Remember, the journey isn't over. It's just redirected. There's purpose in your life. Find it and do something about it. Hey, I've got one more comment. The Redirect Podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We engage in an open, honest conversations about personal growth, life transitions, and the lessons we've learned through our own experiences. While we speak as experts in our own lives, we are not licensed therapists, medical professionals, or certified coaches. The content shared on the Redirect Podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of qualified professionals for any physical, mental, or emotional concerns that you may have. We're grateful to share this space with you and hope that our stories inspire reflection and connection. If you're in need of more support, we encourage you to connect with a trusted professional who can help.